Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Superstar PartyPlex FPS that we hope will not actually turn into another game on accident because of length. Um, oh boy. This is taking almost directly after the Cheshire Rat. So I know it's a long one. Uh, Either watch it or read the wiki,
Mhm.
whatever. So yeah, watch that first because you will be incredibly confused about everything that has led up to this. Yeah,
Oh boy. Yeah.
yeah,
A lot happened.
a lot happened. It was a lot. It was great, but it was a
Mhm.
lot. So after Luke has kind of stopped crying so heavily, I think, James is has asked Luke if he wants to go back to James's apartment to kind of just get away from the partyplex and uh, kind of just have a breather, so to speak. And he's pretty sure Luke does not want to have H see him like this right now.
Yeah. 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 Also, if Trick is
Hmm.
back at the apartment, that would be incredibly awkward.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, James's place sounds like a good idea.
Mhm. Yeah, so I would assume that Handy helps Luke clock out
Mhm.
and they both go to James's apartment. Okay. All right. So yeah, James has I'll describe it for the viewers cuz at least right now I will not have it on my copy. It might be edited in later, but for for listeners' benefit, um, you the apartment is a one-bedroom apartment. Uh, has You walk in to the apartment and it opens up to the living room and the half wall that uh, has the laundry room. Wait, no, that's not the laundry room. That's the kitchen. That has the kitchen further on, and then kind of in the middle space is the dining table. The living room has a little love seat and then a bigger couch, and then there's a coffee table, and then there is a TV stand with a small a TV on top as well. Uh, if you go and turn right, there is a right-hand hall that has a if I can read my own writing, there's the laundry room. There is a little laundry room that's kind of big, all things considered. It has enough room for like two shelves slash tables or something like on the slightly smaller side. And then right next to that is the bathroom, and then across the hall is the bedroom, and it has a closet, desk, bed, all that good stuff. And yeah, that is James's apartment. It's kind of themed in nice, kind of soft, cozy reds and some yellows that pop out here and there, like with blankets and stuff. The tables are kind of a mix mash of different wood grains and types. It kind of just a lot of this stuff does look secondhand, that James has gotten this stuff from miscellaneous places where he can. Uh, maybe even getting some like for free. There, like one of the tables might have a little wobbly miss that leg or something. So it's a very nice, modest apartment.
A far cry from Luke's disaster bachelor pad.
Yep. James's apartment actually looks lived in.
Mhm.
There's like
Incredible.
little there's like maybe a few knickknacks that are obviously from the PartyPlex like prize corner that's not mechanically important or anything, just little bits and bobs. Uh
I'm just picturing there's random Archie merchandise in random places because Archie keeps pawning it off on him.
like I mean he's not gonna say no to free stuff. Like it's probably like the only reason why he really has Archie stuff. Because he just thanks. I needed a cup or something. Like and like that's kind of like the whatever and stuff. So he has random ass miscellaneous silverware and cups and odd bits and bobs, and he's just like, I wish I wasn't such a like I he sometimes he wishes he had a more cohesive set of belongings. Um anyways, so like there's like a few knickknacks.
Mhm.
There's lots of blankets, a lot of kind of pillows, especially kind of on the couch area. Um there does seem to be an actual he had I picture splurged a little bit and actually got a proper tea set. So there is like a proper tea kettle, uh proper cups for tea. And like it's not the fanciest of tea sets, but it's like red, it's cute, it it's very homey and stuff, and he lets Luke know that he can sit down on like either the love seat or the couch, and he'll be right back. He just wants to really quickly put on the kettle.
Aw. Luke will like very nervously sit on the couch, but he's like sitting on the very edge. Like he's nervous to be there. He's nervous to mess anything up in James's apartment.
I feel like it's like relatively quickly that the whistle of the tea kettle goes off, and there's the sound of water pouring from the the teapot. And he will bring over a small tray with two teacups uh, on little saucers. Uh, it's very obvious that one of them has a tea bag, and there's a little dish for sugar and a spoon and stuff. And he uh, brings it over and sets the tray down on the coffee table, and then he goes. He picks up the cup that does not have the little tea bag dangling off, like the string of the tea bag dangling, and holds it out to Luke, and he goes, "I know you can't drink this, but it's it's just hot water. I figured it might be nice for you to hold."
Uh, uh, he nervously takes the cup
It's very nice and warm.
Do you want to roll insight on Luke?
Boy, do I! Yes, I do. Yep, just had to double check his modifier. That's a 14.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's not hard to see. He is terrified of fucking this up somehow.
Oh, my heart. Oh. James kind of just softly goes, "You're okay, Luke. You're okay. There's nothing here that I can't replace. Is it okay if I sit down next to you?"
Luke just nods.
He'll sit down and kind of just carefully take his tea, his own cup, uh, gently drain the last bits of the tea bag and puts it on to the side of his saucer, and then just really quickly puts a few a few spoonfuls of sugar, stirs it, and then just kind of goes, "Tonight was a lot, huh?"
Yeah. Oh, you don't know the half of it.
Yeah. He There's just gentle compassion and understanding that's kind of just wafting off him. If you want to tell me what happened, you can tell me, but it's okay just to sit here and enjoy the warmth. You don't have to tell me anything if you don't want to.
Yeah, I think he's quiet for a while before just quietly saying, thanks.
Of course.
I didn't really want anyone at the PartyPlex to get caught up in all this. But then Ezra was there for the whole thing because they were fused with HareWire and. Oh.
Uh, there's a oh of realization from James. I'm sorry, Luke.
Yeah, who knows how much of that they got?
He kind of sighs a little bit and nods. There's probably a lot of stuff that they saw.
Yeah, a lot more than I ever intended to show them.
It's not your fault.
I mean, it kind of is. Saw. I saw them and I knew HareWire was in there and I went up to talk to them.
But you were trying to make sure that the other person was okay, weren't you?
Uh, not really.
James kind of chuckles a little bit and he just kind of very gently knocks his knees against Luke's. Okay. And there's just acceptance there because he can imagine himself in Luke's shoes if he was there, and he'd probably do the same. There's no judgment there.
Oh, they were they were heading for the kitchen, and I didn't want them to do anything in there. And you can
Oh,
roll insight if you want.
I am rolling insight. The game. That's a 16. It's a lot better than a 14.
Yeah. Luke sees the kitchen as James's space, and he didn't want them messing it up in any way that might cause trouble for James. If they had been walking towards, like, the bowling alley or something, he wouldn't have been as inclined to stop them.
Oh, 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 my heart. There, there, there's like kind of like a dot, dot, dot loading over James's head, and then blush. And he kind of just takes a sip of his tea and just kind of shyly goes, "Thanks, Luke. It would have really sucked to find the kitchen not prepared like it normally is.
Yeah, or I mean,
Worse."
you've you've heard about what they did to Archie's room, right?
Yep. Archie hasn't been able to shut up about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like it would have been a pain. So, thanks. Thanks for thinking about me.
Of
And
course.
there's just soft, gooey love for Luke.
He's just like, of course. You can roll insight on that if you want to.
Oh boy, and hey, while I'm rolling insight, how about you roll insight? Because James is looking at Luke.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's a nat one.
Oh no.
I
Yeah,
guess it makes sense though, for James to get a natural one though, because he's just looking at you with the most besottled expression on his face, just so soft, and just like it's just like he loves Luke so friggin' much, and he just maybe there's like a little like red heart that kind of just drips off his frame and kind of just flutters down like paper mache.
I feel like Luke is looking at James for like a little longer than is normal and then very nervously forces himself to look away back at like his teacup or something.
Mhm. Oh man. Oh, yeah. Just James is so soft and gooey right now. He's just melted butter inside. I do think he'll eventually look away from Luke, probably when Luke looks away, and just kind of takes another sip from his tea. Oh, I just sit here because James isn't gonna pry if Luke isn't gonna tell him, because he promised he wouldn't ask.
Uh, and Luke is sitting here so nervously, like, uh, Don't
I
fuck this up. Don't fuck this up.
oh, hold him so soft. I do think James would, after a moment of some silence, would probably go, I know you're not doing the best, probably, from everything, but how are you doing? Like, is there anything I can do to help at all? If you need help or something, like emotionally or otherwise, he kind of coughs and clears his throat and takes another sip of tea.
Yeah, I don't really know that there's anything that can be done to help. Oh.
He again kind of just very gently knocks his knee against Luke's and goes, I'm here for you. I'm here for you, Luke. Whatever you might need me for, like if it's just a hug, us sitting in silence for a little bit, you've got me.
Yeah, Luke is gonna start crying again.
I there's like a slight bit of crap, I made him cry. Panic from James as like he very hurriedly puts his cup back down on the tray on the table, and he just kind of he moves to hug Luke, but then kind of pauses a little bit because he doesn't know if is this a situation where you hug it out? Huh?
Yeah, I feel like Luke will put his cup down on the coffee table and reach over and hug James.
James is immediately hugging Luke, holding him close and just kind of relaxing a little bit because his instinct was right. Luke did want a hug. Oh good. He can do that, and he will just very gently but firmly hug Luke.
Mm-hmm. They're probably gonna be there for a while until Luke has cried himself
Mhm.
out.
Yeah. It's a crying kind of night apparently.
Mm.
Oh man. He's just gonna as Luke starts to slow his crying, James is gonna just very carefully and gently wipe away the last few drips of tears from the underside of Luke's mask. Did that help? Oh my gosh. Luke, James, why are you being so quiet? Uh, he says very quietly, did that help?
I think Luke is like, maybe it certainly didn't hurt anything.
That's good. And he just kind of is still kind of holding you, Luke, just a little, uh, just looking at you with care.
Man.
He is gay. I cannot help this.
Mm-hmm. He is incredibly gay. We all know this.
Mm-hmm.
Immutable facts of life.
Yep. The sun is shining, the sky is blue, and James is very, very gay. I feel like if this was an actual TV show, they'd just be kind of like lost staring at each other for a soft companionable moment, but all of the viewers would just be screaming, "Just kiss already!"
Chris says they are. MJ's like, you think I'm not? uh, Luke wants to bury his face in James's shoulder, but the mask.
The mask. Oh. James is there's just the undercurrent from James of like want of he wants to cup Luke's face. He wants to cup it so bad, but he is respectful of the mask. He is respectful of Luke, and there's just that subtle, very subtle undercurrent of want from James. Uh, how about can you have Luke roll maybe to see if he can pick that up?
Insight.
Yeah, insight.
And James can roll insight on Luke as well. Oh,
Oh boy. Okay, let's see.
Luke got a 7. James
James
got a
got a 13.
13. Oh.
I don't think Luke gets it enough. There's just too much soft and care.
Mm-hmm. I'm
It
like,
smells like a bakery in here.
James might notice Luke go to touch his mask and very quickly take his hand away. He kind of wants to take the mask off, but also he's so afraid of scaring James away right now.
What? Oh my heart. Okay. Since you say he did kind of notice that,
Mm-hmm.
I had to roll a d2 to see if James was going to be respectful or if he was going to be brave. And the dice has said he's going to be brave. And he very, very gently puts his hand on the side of Luke's mask, not to take it off, but just kind of cupping Luke's Luke's face, and goes, "I don't care what you look like underneath that."
I mean, that's easy to say when you haven't seen it.
I know, but I don't think this is gonna change my feelings. Not one bit.
Yeah.
Luke,
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care what you look like. Hell, I fell in love with you because, not because of your mask or the ways you cover up. I fell in love with you. You, not your body, not your condition.
Do you want to roll persuasion?
Okay, persuasion. I don't have that one. Where? Oh, okay. It's obvious I have not rolled this one for James. Very. Oh, okay, that's a 19.
Okay. uh, yeah, with uh a 19, Luke kind of like the argument that James doesn't actually know a lot about Luke sort of dies out, and he's like internally, what, like, well, I mean, Astro already saw and didn't freak out, so maybe it's fine. Uh, and he very slowly and hesitantly raises his hands to his mask and uh, uh honestly freezes there for a moment before uh starting to pull the mask away. And he's kind of nervously looking away from James like he's afraid what James's reaction is going to be.
Does Luke still have some visibly wet tear tracks on his face?
Oh, absolutely. He might be crying all over again.
Okay. All right. Okay. So James very gently kind of first puts his hand under Luke's chin and very gently guides Luke's face back towards him. And once Luke's face is facing him, his hand moves and cups Luke's cheek, and he goes, "There you are. There you are, Luke."
Luke just looks like a deer in the headlights. He doesn't know what to do here.
"Luke, you're wonderful." And he just very gently with his thumb wipes away some of the fresh tears. "We're so brave. You're so brave, Luke."
Don't feel very brave.
Bravery isn't the absence of fear. And he brings his other hand up and cups Luke's face so very gently. "It's doing something even though you're afraid. Luke, you're beautiful.
Oh, that
Beautiful and wonderful and smart.
gets him crying even harder.
Thank you for trusting me with this. You're so brave. So very brave." And he is going to just lean forward and press a kiss to Luke's forehead as he wipes away tears.
And for the first time, you can actually see that Luke is blushing when James pulls away. And his cheeks are a darker purple than the rest of his face.
He is just looking at you, Luke, with that same soft, adoring expression on his face. He was right. His feelings haven't changed. There is no rejection, no fear, no disgust. He very gently wipes away a few more tears from Luke's face, and he just kind of lets his hand rest on Luke's cheek and goes, "Is anything hurting?"
Luke gives like a small shake of his head. He's like, not, not physically now.
Good. That's so good to hear. He just very gently kind of is just his thumb is just very gently stroking Luke's cheek. And he just goes, "I don't want to change a single thing about you, Luke. I'm so glad you're here."
Ah! Oh my god. Gay.
Gay. We're getting the gay.
Crows, I can't tell if that's a question or a statement.
A
Okay,
question.
I am good. I am feeling things and
Luke is
crying.
just making them cry.
Hmm.
I would also be crying if I was the one playing Luke. But
Yeah.
I have James in my head who is just going, "I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. I get to hold you, I love you," in
My
my
god.
head repeatedly.
Damn. This is like the best day of James's afterlife and like the third worst of Eggs's.
Yeah. They're having multitudes of different experiences right now.
Hmm.
James is just he cares so much. He care and he's so proud. He's so proud of Luke. This was
Man.
a huge step for Luke.
Hmm.
Like I James the Luke doesn't even need to roll insight. Like he's stated it previously, but he is just so proud of Luke. Like he's just so proud.
Man, Luke is just sitting there awkwardly holding the mask, not sure what to do here. He wasn't
James is
expecting this reaction.
yeah, because he could talk. He thinks about the worst possible scenarios and then obsesses over them.
Yeah.
And it's a good reaction, so it's the complete polar opposite of what he was thinking was gonna happen.
Hmm. He was like, well, maybe James just won't be totally horrified. He wasn't expecting this.
He's not horrified. There was like the slightest hint of concern, but that has gone away now that Luke has said that it doesn't hurt. And he loves Luke. he loves Luke, and he's so proud, and he's just also just honored that he is trusted with this, like, that Luke was even considering this, and then that Luke believed him enough to take the leap. He just this is really big, and if Luke were actually able to eat, James would be pulling out, like, a bottle of champagne and, some cake or something. Pop some bottles. Let's celebrate Luke for being so brave. Like, that's James's whole entire mentality is just he knew this was a huge step, and he's just so proud. And
Luke is still blushing very hard.
oh, um, how about you roll me insight? Because I just realized something that Luke could probably maybe get an undercurrent of. Okay, with a 21. Yeah, he's definitely going to pick this up. James just views Luke's condition as something that just is medical. Sometimes people have really nasty, real physical things that are wrong with them, and that's just life. Sometimes that just happens, and it might look grotesque, it might look horrifying initially, but the person is just living their life. Um, with a 21, also, you get this sense that A, James has seen literal dead bodies before, so not entirely phased about that, like, even before his undeath, um, because, vigilante, there's gonna be dead bodies. Um, for him, the horror is that their story has ended, not that the actual condition of the body is horrific, though sometimes there's nuance there. But like the most horrifying thing for James is when someone's story is over and you can't continue. Like that, the story is there. This person's life has been cut off and it's before their time. That's what horrifies James. Not necessarily the condition of a person's body. And there is the sense that maybe James has known other people who, while not exactly undead, were um, disfigured in some way, uh, either through injury, through um, physical disabilities, or something. Like whatever the case, he's been around these kinds of people before. He knows that they're just people living their lives. He views Luke exactly the same way.
I think, like, after a few moments, Luke sort of, like, reaches forward and puts the mask onto the table instead of putting it back on.
There's just a tiny little sunburst of happy. Because he's happy that Luke feels confident enough to put the mask down. he would have been understanding if Luke had put the mask back on, maybe a little bit wistful, because he does like seeing Luke's face, but he would have understood.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh, Luke is visibly not confident about this decision, but he is
he's
trying it
trying.
anyway.
He's trying, and that's the fact that he's willing to try. Like that should be the better description of what James would be seeing, I guess, with that. That Luke is trying, is willing to try. Yeah, that just summons up a big sunburst pop of happiness. And he just smiles at you, Luke. And he just goes, "It's really nice to see your face."
He's blushing again.
James kind of blushes a little bit too, and he kind of just looks down and fiddles with his fingers for a moment, just because. Yeah, James, writing off the 21, you can tell that James thinks Luke is cute, even like this. Even with the purple and the rot and the scars that James can kind of see on Luke's face. He doesn't dislike what he sees. So he is a little blushy and just kind of just fiddling with his fingers a little bit because he sat his cup of tea down.
Man,
Yeah,
this whole FPS is gonna be gay vibes instead of lore, isn't it?
I I sit here. I don't know, man. It's kind of up to you. If Luke is willing to go into lore, he can go into lore, but I do a shrug.
Front row seats is screaming for them to kiss again. You've waited this long. Be patient.
You are unfortunately watching the slow burn.
Mm-hmm.
This is the slow burn gay pairing. I mean, in comparison to faulty wiring, though faulty wiring, I don't know. Faulty wiring is probably gonna um there's there's probably going to be a circuit of will they, won't they there now, just because
Oh.
of Ezra's feelings and him being angry at HareWire, understandably.
MJ is saying faulty wiring is both slow burn and speed run enemies to lovers somehow. Uh,
Man.
Luke is just sitting there feeling very uh, awkward and
Ex-
like,
Exposed?
yeah.
James is just he cares so much. And he just can't really get over that, like, this was such a huge step, and he's so proud, and he just recognizes that, like, this is I do a hand gesture, like, this is big, and he just kind of looks up and smiles at Luke again, just because he can, and there's just that same care and adoration and love directed towards Luke.
Yeah, Luke is just blushing even harder.
There is an undercurrent of just kind of gremlin, hee, I'm making him blush, uh, amusement from James, but it's not it's not malicious. It's just kind of the just, "Aw, he looks cute when he blushes," kind of feeling. And, like, if they were more settled and stuff, and if this wasn't just Luke having taken off the mask, James maybe would lean into it and, like, kind of try to make Luke blush even more just because he cute. But he doesn't want to overwhelm Luke at the same time, so he's just kind of eh, he's not trying to push too hard here because he doesn't want to make Luke uncomfortable
Mhm.
because he cares. He cares about Luke.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining Handy on Luke's wrist, just giving both of them the most unimpressed side eye
Oh
because they're
no,
not even talking.
it's doing the little cat face. The little smug cat face. It's going to be quiet because, like, this seems like a James and Luke thing, but like, told
It
ya.
knows what they are.
Truly.
Just, I told you so.
Mhm. Yeah, I think Luke is like, I've never really taken off my mask like this before. Uh, like to intentionally show someone and hope they don't have a bad reaction.
James softens and he very clearly reaches over and takes one of Luke's bandaged hands and gently gives it a squeeze. Like I said, you're being really, really brave.
Oh, he's tearing up again.
James will wipe away the tears if they fall.
Ah, which makes him blush again. The never ending cycle.
And he just smiles at Luke. You're adorable.
Ah, I don't think anyone's ever called me that before.
Well, first time for everything, right? Because I do mean it.
Yeah. Hmm. Oh. You know
Eyes
what?
emoji? Eyes emoji? What?
You know what? You know what? You know what?
What?
This is an FPS. I don't have to listen to the dice. I made up that roll. Uh,
Uh-huh.
James says first time for everything, and Luke is like, yeah. And then he leans in to kiss James.
What? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. 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 Okay.
Oops. I broke Mira.
Okay. 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 James, there's like the spark of surprise, and then he melts into the kiss and will kiss Luke back and just very, very gently cup Luke's the back of Luke's head. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Luke was like very, very obviously nervous at the start of that, but like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, he relaxes as James warms up to it, and like, it's still probably going to be a pretty short and awkward kiss, but. Uh.
I His apartment floor is covered in hearts now.
Oh my gosh.
Just like a complete blanket of red and pink and like maybe a few white, like a whitish pink hearts, all of them like very obviously romance coded. Um all across the floor and probably on the couch. And just poof, there was the surprise probably triggered the hearts. Um
Yeah.
but they only really notice that when they kind of
Mm.
pull back and hey, what do you know what? James is blushing.
Yeah, Lucas too. He's like, oh, part of him wants to be like apologize and ask if that was okay, but like that seems fairly obvious.
He is looking at Luke like he has hung the sun, starn, and moons, starn, stars, the sun, stars, and moon. Like he doesn't say anything. He just very, very carefully leans back towards Luke and will try and pull him into another kiss.
Yeah, okay. Luke is still very awkward about it, but yeah, he is. He will kiss James back. Oh my god.
I
He is
Oh
like a
my
little bit
god.
surprised at James initiating, but like. Oh.
Mhm. I oh my god. I he James will just very, very gently, after they separate again, just press his forehead against Luke's. "I love you so much."
Oh. I think Luke's gonna be like, yeah, I can kinda tell.
He will laugh kind of softly and just he can't stop smiling, and he just so I is that an answer?
I think so. If you want it to be.
I would love it to be. You you already have all of me, Luke. You have me in any way you want.
Man. I think Luke is like, I mean, there's not a lot left of me, but yeah, I, I don't know. I just, uh, I want you here with me.
Me. All I want to be is by your side.
It's, if you haven't noticed, I'm kind of a mess. Uh,
I know. And I'm still here, Lou.
you are. That's that's gonna take a little getting used to.
That's okay. I'm still gonna be here as you get used to it. And for as long as you want me, I'll always be here.
Oh,
I'm not gonna leave you alone, Luke.
oh, he's getting teary again.
James honestly is getting a little teary too, just because he's feeling so many emotions that are so intense that he can't help but tear up a little bit. And Luke is tearing up a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
they're both getting a little teary right now. But if any tears do end up falling from Luke's eyes, James will wipe them away. And he just very, very gently kind of does a little head bonk to Luke's forehead. And he just goes, You're. You say that there's not much left of you. But there's enough of you here. And I love you.
Man.
And I know that you've been incredibly hurt in the past, and that some of those people don't feel bad about it, that they caused you hurt, and that there's at least one person that does who caused part of it. But no matter what they did to you, Luke, no matter what you've done, I love you. And I'll keep loving you, even after you're finally ready to talk to me about what happened. But that's only when you're ready and when you can tell me about it. My love isn't dependent on knowing your past, and it won't change because of your past. I won't love you any less.
Man, I feel like Luke is just leaning into James and like hugging him and leaning into him and just like melting a little bit.
Yeah, he is definitely okay with Luke melting into him, and he's just gonna hold he hold Luke so close. I've got you. I've got you, Luke.
Man.
Mhm. Question.
Mm-hmm.
Have Luke and James discussed the Luke can't sleep thing?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either because I know what we have done in not canon
Mm-hmm.
conversations.
I don't think
I
they have. Like,
okay.
James knows Luke can't eat, but I don't know that he knows he can't sleep.
Mhm. Okay. All right. That helps. Thank you. Um I think after a little bit, if Luke isn't moving off of James and out of James's arms, Luke is not Luke. James is gonna just kind of one-armedly grab one of the yellow blankets that he has that are on the couch in various arrangements, and he's just gonna pull it over himself and Luke, and just settle in.
Oh my god.
Just because he personally doesn't want Luke to move. He is 100% happy with this.
Oh my gosh.
And if Luke's not moving, you just might as well get cozy.
hmm I feel like when James goes for the blanket, Luke might uh uh start to pull back a little, like uh worried that he is keeping James from doing something.
James kind of moves his other arm kind of back around Luke's back, and he kind of just makes a protesting noise like, don't, don't do that. Move.
Mm, yeah, Luke tucks his head back against James's shoulder.
There's the blanket fluffed over them both, and there's just a very content noise from James as he kind of just leans his head over and kind of just very, very carefully, because he's still kind of used to being careful about the mask, uh, nuzzling his cheek against Luke.
Oh my gosh.
And like you just get happy contentness mixed with love.
Man. Luke looking back up at James and blushing as he does this. Like, God, that's so goddamn cute and soft.
he just he he notices Luke looking up at him, and he just smiles, and he is blushing a little bit because he just
Hey.
he yeah.
So you can finish your thing first.
Well, he's just kind of like a jumbled mess of but he's looking at me and he's so cute and I love him and bah! All the gay noises.
Do you want to roll perception?
Oh boy. Okay. All right. What is your perception modifier, my son? It is a 6. Okay. 16.
Yeah, yeah, that's enough. Uh, this close up, like as Luke looks up at James, James can notice that his uh sort of irises, the ring of white around his pupil, are shaped into little hearts.
Oh, he kind of just tilts his head slightly, like, oh no, like just like there's like a pulse of, oh, that's cute. And then he kind of cups Luke's cheek and goes, your eyes are heart shaped right now. Did you know they could do that?
Luke shakes his head no. Um,
Should
hmm.
I roll insight?
Not, not yet. I'm considering whether or not he's going to do something.
Uh huh.
Hmm. Hmm. I think he's like, I did not know that they could do that. Uh, they're they're not really my eyes.
Here we go. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Shifting out of game mode into lore mode.
Yep, I have to do some breathing because the feeling that got
Mm-hmm.
flooded with me is just protective rage
Do
over the fact that someone took my boyfriend's eyes.
yeah. Do we want to have a little break here, maybe? And
Probably a good idea. It's been like
it's been around an hour and a half.
yeah, an hour and a half. Oh boy. Holy shit. Okay.
All right.
Wow.
We'll break here and be back in a bit.
Yep. Mhm. We're breaking. I am I am going to have to like get up and pace around for a moment. Like, holy shit.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. I will be back. Bye-bye.
Mhm. Me too. We're back for the angsty half of this AU. This
Mean okay.
FPS.
That's not a you.
This one's canon. We've been doing so much AU roleplay for James and
Uh-huh.
Luke.
And
This
Luke.
one's canon.
This is canon.
This is not one of our dozen AUs.
That are mainly both of them falling in love.
Anyway.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Luke just told James that, hey, guess what? My eyes aren't actually mine originally.
Yeah. Do you want to roll insight on Luke?
Yep. D20. Why are my cap locks on? D20 plus 26.
26.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah. He can tell that, like, Luke is very nervous to be telling him this and worried that this is going to, like, freak James out or scare him off. And you also get the sense that this, like, isn't something he's talked about before with many people. And he doesn't know how to bring it up properly and how to say all this, but he's just like really hoping that this doesn't scare James off and he didn't just fuck it all up.
Well, Luke first can feel this swelling of, well, not feel, he can sense this spicy scent of rage, but there's interwoven with this rage is protectiveness. But it, as fast as it flares up, it softens because Luke doesn't need James to be angry right now. And he kind of shifts them a little bit so they're a little bit more comfortable on the couch. And he wraps his arms around Luke, pulls him a little closer, and just goes, "Can you close your eyes for me? Just one moment."
Oh, oh, writing off the 26th, Luke is immediately like
Nervous?
worried. Like, why would James be asking him to do this? But, like, after a moment, he does
And
close his eyes.
James is going to just very, very gently kiss each eyelid. Very gently. And then he just kisses Luke's forehead. And then kind of just slightly pulls back his head a little bit and goes, "Okay." You can open them again, Blue. He would not call Luke Bud, but they're not buds. Um,
They're
he well,
boyfriends.
they're boyfriends. They just need to actually say it so it's official.
Mhm.
But but he just very gently tells Luke that he can open his eyes again after
Mhm.
kissing them.
Uh, and Luke does, and he looks at James, like curious and confused what that was about.
James is blushing a bit, and he just they may not be your original eyes, but if you don't want to change them, if you don't want to go through that again, I would never ask you to. You're you. I'm so sorry. He he makes just he he's trying to figure out the words, but
Mhm.
he doesn't have all the details. He
He
just
is
has his feelings
mad.
of acceptance of this is Luke. This is Luke now. He has ideas of what
Mhm.
happened to those original eyes, but he doesn't know, but he what's important to James is Luke himself, not what parts he has and what his condition is, and like, it's not material.
Man. Come on, James, your lack of curiosity is screwing up the high angst.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
just. It's very lighthearted.
uh
Oh.
but since Luke has initiated the this section of the conversation, he is going to keep it going. It's just he's trying to be reassuring, but he doesn't have all of the parts yet
Guess who else
to
doesn't have
be.
all of the parts?
Oh my gosh, Zen. Okay. Um, and like he kind of trails off for a second before shaking his head and going, "What happened? If you're still willing to talk about it, what did they do to you, Luke?" And his voice kind of breaks a little because he just the idea of Luke being in agony before his death is heartbreaking to James. He doesn't want Luke to be in pain, and the fact that he was in pain, that's his boy. That's his boyfriend. No. Like he knows it already happened and he can't do anything to prevent it, but I do a gesture. He love his boy.
Mhm. I think Luke is like thinking for a few moments about how to word this. Cause, like,
Mm.
despite everything the Night Terrors have done, he still doesn't want to just, like, open with the most, like, the evil that
Horrible
affected
thing.
him the most personally.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, hmm. So he's, uh, hey, the the Night Terrors, as you know them, or I mean, I guess you mostly know. You've mostly just met HareWire. They they weren't always like that. They used to be my friends, and they weren't all fucked up like they are now. Um, Something really bad happened to them. A lot of really bad things. My my father was I don't know what was wrong with him. Uh he when he found out about them, he kidnapped them and held them in like a basement lab and tortured them. And by the time I found out and I went to go help them, they'd been down there for a long time. And uh, uh, Trick and we went down to get them out, but I guess they couldn't really process that. Hair wire. He, uh, they, they, they wanted to kill my father, and rightfully so. And they didn't think they could get close, and that's probably fair. And they decided the solution was to use me to get close. To. Uh, he's kind of like clutching at uh his shirt over his chest with one hand.
James kind of tugs uh, Luke a little closer, a little more protectively held. He's he's listening, and roll roll insight real quick.
Oh boy. 23.
Okay, great. First off, there is an underlying protective anger that is thrumming spicy and hot underneath uh, James's normal sense of compassion and love for Luke. Um, but Luke, if you look at James, there is a very serious expression on his face as he listens. And you realize that it's still James, but it would be maybe a bit more accurate to say that Peregrine is listening now.
Hmm. Do you want to roll insight on Luke as well?
Yes, that's a 21.
Yeah. Uh, Luke is very shaky and very nervous, and he's worried about a lot of things. He's worried about what you're gonna think of him after this, but he's also worried about what you might think of Trick and Harlequinette and the other night terrors after this. He's
Mm-hmm.
worried that he's maybe not presenting this the fairest, but also, like, it is what happened, so.
Mm-hmm. I do think there is a minute softening of Peregrine's face, and a little bit more of James kind of shines through for a moment as he gently cups Luke's face and he goes, "They have hurt you. I know Harlequinette is wishing for change. I'm proud of them for that. And you have, from what it sounds like, from what happened leading up to this, they were under extreme duress. It doesn't absolve them of what they did to you, but it does explain it. And I'm willing to judge them on if they are willing to change now, if that is what you want."
Hmm. I think Luke looks at James with, like, teary eyes, and he is a bit reassured by that.
Yay.
Uh, it's like, maybe a little, although, even with everything they went through, it's still pretty hard to see how that explains thinking it's a good idea to cut open your best friend and wear their skin.
There is, once again, that spicy rage, that protective, spicy rage, before it's very carefully tucked back just a little, just enough that it's not consuming James's mind. So it's not super pungent, I should say. Um, it's kind of like spicy, like cinnamon is spicy, and if you get too much of it, it makes you choke.
Mm-hmm.
So he is very, with the 21 that, wait, no, that's mine. With the 23 that Luke had rolled, he can definitely tell that James is doing he's not necessarily compartmentalization. He's not compartmentalizing, um, but he is doing kind of reining back the emotions just a little bit to stay in that kind of this is a case kind of mindset of like I am being told information. This is information that is going to make me incredibly angry, but it's I need to listen and be understanding with what Luke is telling me. It's a mixture of both vigilante listening to a victim's testimonial and caring, loving boyfriend. Like it's kind of there's that sort of separation but not separate at the same time kind of thing. If
Hmm.
that make if that makes sense.
Sort of like balancing the two to stay somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. It's like basically he's in work mode, but he's not so into work mode that he like is not recognizing that this is someone James cares about. It's not just a victim. It's not just someone he is helping because he's a vigilante. It's this is someone that is close to me kind of thing. But at the same time, it's not so close to him that he will have to get up and punch a wall.
Mm-hmm. Go directly to the PartyPlex. Do not pass go kill HareWire.
Yeah, so he is
Mm-hmm.
you can tell that it's affecting him, but it's not that he doesn't care. It's more of a he has trained himself to have this level of emotional reaction but controlled
Hmm.
because you can't lash out around your victim when you are interviewing said victim as a vigilante.
Yeah. I think like Luke is very carefully watching James's face for a little bit after saying that before like being reassured enough that he kind of like uh relaxes a little bit. I think Texas head against James's shoulder.
James's hand will come up and kind of just start very very gently uh running through Luke's hair, very careful and gentle.
Oh. And he
He
relaxes. After a
oh
moment of that, he relaxes a little bit more.
mhm. James very very softly goes there. There is a very twisted logic to an idea like that, but it doesn't make it okay. And I'm so sorry that in that moment they were too far gone to see that.
Yeah. Hey, hey. think they kinda forgot that I'm not a tune and I can't really bounce back from that kind of stuff the way uh, they could. Uh, the, the HareWire. Before the fire, he was UPAing, so I guess he thought he wouldn't take up much space, and yeah.
He turned you into a puppet. Is that what he was trying to do?
Being a puppet might have been nicer than being controlled from the inside out.
He, with his other arm, just kind of hugs Luke a little closer. Just there, it's just jumping back to the 23. You can, like, there's just like the sense of trying to, like, taking it all in and just turning every scenario kind of over in James's head as he kind of just, like, it's like he's taking in the new information and just examining it from all angles. And he just sort of shakes his head a little bit and hugs Luke closer and goes, "That it must have been agony for you."
Yeah.
Did did you make it to your parents, your home? Did Is he dead? Is the man who caused all of this dead?
Luke nods. Yeah, they killed him. Yeah. Don't really think they even needed me for that part. Uh,
There were there could have been so many different options they could have done.
mm, don't need to tell me that.
I know. It Luke, you didn't deserve that.
I mean, when I said that a lot of terrible things happened to them, I was one of those. The whole reason my father was able to kidnap them away is because I was being an ass to them. They live off emotions, and it wasn't always fear. It was love originally, and I I wasn't giving them any.
There's there's a sort of like, oh, that makes sense. And then like kind of like that sense of, oh, yeah, that makes sense from James, and then it morphs into this sorrow. And he very gently kind of takes the hand that's not gently running through Luke's hair, because he hasn't stopped that, by the way. He's still very gently just running his hand through Luke's hair. The hand that's not really doing that is just very gently running up and down Luke's back, and he goes, "Can I know why you weren't? You were, in your own words, being an ass to them."
Luke immediately tears up and starts crying.
Uh,
Uh,
uh.
and he says, I had a little brother. His name was Alex. And when I was 13, I had a wild magic surge, and I got burned, but Alex didn't make it.
Oh, he's wrapping you up in a hug. He's hugging you.
Yeah, Luke is
He's,
sobbing into James's shoulder.
I'm so sorry, Luke. I'm so sorry. Loss doesn't. Loss hurts. I'm so sorry that you lost him that way. But, Luke, I can tell you never wanted that to happen. I can tell you loved your brother so much, and that you miss him still. How could you not?
Mm, It doesn't really matter what I want when it comes to my magic. It just does things sometimes.
He kind of breathes out shakily, and just hugs Luke tighter. And he he wants to say something, but it's hard to put into words. Um, he goes, if it's at all possible, if there's a way to find something to help with your magic, because you have said that it does things on its own that you might not necessarily want. I'm gonna do everything in my power to try and find those those options because your magic is part of you and you deserve not to be scared of it. You deserve not to be scared of what it might do to others. So, if there's any possibility that there's something out there, even if it's not an Einquell, I'll look for it for you.
I don't know that you're gonna have much luck with that.
Looking and not finding is better than not looking and it being there all along. I would rather expend every effort at my disposal to make sure that you feel safe with yourself and around others. I I know I can't do much now, but I promise I won't give up on you and on finding solutions that might help you.
I think Luke just looks at James with tears still pouring from his eyes. Wet cat look.
Yeah, and James loves this wet cat. And he just very gently wipes away tears. What happened to you when your brother was a tragedy, Luke? But it wasn't your fault.
How could it not be? It was my magic that hurt him.
But it wasn't your intent. It You said it yourself. Your magic does things that you don't want it to do. It's not your fault. Sometimes magic is just wild, and the wild can be so cruel, Luke. It's a part of nature, and people get hurt. People can die. It's not your fault. It was an accident, and it's okay to miss him and grieve. But you don't have to punish yourself for it because it wasn't you that was that was pulling the trigger. You wanted something completely different than what happened. You may have been the weapon that was used to hurt you and your brother, but it was nature, magic itself, that actually triggered the weapon. Should I roll persuasion?
Uh, I don't think this is something you can persuade him on
Mm-hmm.
within the scope of this one conversation.
Yeah, that's fair.
But what I did to the dreamers after how I treated the people that were supposed to be my friends, that that was me.
Okay. He takes a deep breath and accepts it. And he will give Luke just a gentle squeeze as his hand kind of just returns to Luke's hair and gently starts running through it again. Um, and he very gently asks, well, he doesn't ask because actually HQ had actually told him a little bit about this. Like, this is one of the sections that Harley Quinnet mentioned. Um, and he goes, "You accidentally starved them."
Luke gives a tiny little nod.
But you didn't know. And he kind of looks to Luke for confirmation that, yeah, Luke didn't know that this would starve the dreamers.
I knew it was hurting them. I knew I was being awful to them.
James nods. But you were a kid. You you didn't know the extent of your actions. You were in pain. And oftentimes, when people are in pain, if they can't direct it at themselves, it goes outwards. This isn't just a you problem, Luke. People can hurt other people because they themselves are hurting. There are some that don't care and find delight in hurt and people hurting. But oftentimes it is just hurt people creating more hurt people. I think Luke, I think the most important thing is if you regret it.
Of course I do.
That's the important part. A bad person wouldn't regret. Luke, you're not a bad person. You may have been an awful, awful kid after an awful, awful tragedy. But you did grow up into a good person who cares about other people. You say that you wanted to help the terrors when you went to go rescue them. Did you still did you feel regret when you were going to save them?
Regret for what exactly?
For hurting them when you were a kid?
Of course I did.
And you went to save them. Luke, you went to go save them. It's not your fault that they couldn't recognize that change of heart. That's your father's fault. And maybe a little bit of the terror's own fault for not being able to understand what was going on, that you were there to help. But it's not your fault that they hurt you, that they used you to kill your father, even if it was the most deserved death in the world. That is still, they took the choice from you on if you wanted to help them kill him. And it's not your fault that they did that. It's their choice. It was their choice. They chose to do that to you. And you did not deserve it. You had already changed. I don't, that pain that they caused you, that just causes more pain. It doesn't cause change. It doesn't cause redemption. It, Luke, what they did to you, he gently cups Luke's cheek. You did not deserve that. They didn't deserve to be hurt either, but it does not absolve them of their own guilt. Them being hurt, being kidnapped and tortured doesn't absolve them of hurting you, because that was their choice.
I think Luke is once again just sitting there crying.
Yeah, and James will wipe away the tears very tenderly.
Uh,
What they did to you wasn't your fault, and you didn't deserve it. You were a kid. You were a kid and you didn't know. All you knew that you were hurting. And sometimes it was just easier to have others hurt.
he gives like a little nod.
One of the most important things is that you were sorry. Of course you were sorry. You cared. They were your friends. It's not your fault that they didn't see that.
Man,
Mhm.
Luke just really has nothing to say in response to this.
Mhm. I think he's gonna just very gently make sure that Luke's cheeks are dry after the tears eventually finally stop because I'm sure it this entire conversation has caused Luke to start crying.
Mm-hmm.
Um and he very gently kind of just shifts back to holding Luke, rubbing his back and running his hand through Luke's hair as he goes. So they used you to kill your father,
Yeah.
but HareWire didn't stay inside you for forever. Otherwise, this would not be the kind of conversation we were having. I would be.
Yeah.
He kind of trails off and kind of just there's a disgruntled sigh because he wants to really 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 punch HareWire in the snout again, even
Mm-hmm.
though the last few times he was not successful.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember, Trick or, Cheese Malone? I think she called herself
James
when we
kind of
were supposed to
snorts.
go on the road trip.
Yeah, I I remember.
Yeah. So her name's Trick, and she's technically one of the night terrors too, but she wasn't in the basement. She helped me find the others, and we were going to save them together. After
Mhm.
my father was dead, she pointed out that I was probably gonna bleed out and die. And then all the others got worked up about what would happen to them if I died, because my magic is what made them.
There is a little bit of surprise and then like recognition cuz oh hey, he knows somebody who has someone that it did I do a hand wave. Velveteen Rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
But a bear instead of a rabbit.
Yeah. I mean, Luke hasn't technically said the whole toy part yet, but I'll
Well,
see, you
yeah,
know. Mm-hmm.
but like I just it's a very common but I mean, it's a common tune acknowledgement for a lot of tunes that some tunes just pop up because someone else loved something really, really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of happens, like how sentient buildings and cities can happen.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you've known about Handy for a little while now.
Mhm. Yep. And and James just there's like just like a little light bulb that pops up over James's head for a moment before it kind of goes away a little bit and he just kind of goes, "Oh, that gives us so much more weight." And he like gently squeezes Luke a little bit closer and just there's protective protectiveness but also understanding and also just oh god, here we go. Here comes the death part. Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is seeing the writing on the wall that this is where things go from bad to worse.
Yeah. uh, and Luke is like, well, Trick left the room to go look for something, and the others were freaking
First
out.
aid kit.
No, uh, I don't know what. I don't know if she knew what either. But HareWire thought that if each of them took a piece of me, then they'd be safe from disappearing if I died. And that if they gave me a piece of them, I would be tuned enough to not die. He sort of like winces and looks at James for his reaction to that.
I am rolling a whiz save because this surge of anger, I think, is okay. All right, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, um, yeah, you know how his protective anger is cinnamon-y?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like you got your sinuses full of like just someone took a whole entire little jar of cinnamon, ground cinnamon, and just kind of poof, put it threw it in your face.
Luke has unintentionally just done the cinnamon challenge.
Yep. Like that was exactly what I was thinking was the cinnamon
He
challenge.
kind of like recoils back a little and I think coughs a couple times.
And James, however, his training has kicked in. So there's like he is just stock still on the couch, seething with anger on Luke's behalf, protectively.
Mm-hmm.
And he just breathes in, breathes out. The anger doesn't go away. Breathes in, breathes out. The anger's still not going away. And he just, through gritted teeth, goes, how fucking dare they? And he just, you, you were an afterthought to them? They He takes in a deep, shaky breath that is just, how dare they?
I mean, I don't know if I was an afterthought. They had already decided to do swaps before they pulled anything out, but I kinda wish they hadn't.
James forces himself to his body to relax as he pulls Luke into a very tight hug. And he just, with that 9, the anger has just, it has retreated back down to the normal for this conversation levels of just simmering under the surface. So it's just it's just a cinnamony smell. It's spicy but cinnamony. Um, and he is just, oh, oh, Luke, oh, Luke. They took so much from you. And he hugs you so close and just hugging you as if he could shield you from whatever else might come as he is crying a little as he just goes, you didn't deserve that. You didn't. You didn't deserve that.
Hey, now that James knows, do you want to roll perception?
Yeah, let's roll perception. Okay, that's a +6. Okay. Oh, that's a
No,
nat 1.
you're too busy being protective of Luke to notice that as you hug him, there's something under that skin that's not. Shouldn't work, shouldn't feel like that.
Mhm. He just he he doesn't even fully know the specifics besides the eyes and that Luke had been cut open already. But he can guess that some things were swapped uh, it just he he hugs you close and secure and just, you didn't deserve it. You didn't.
Mm.
You have every right not to forgive them for what they did to you.
You want to know the worst part?
Yeah?
After they were done, they made Trick sew me up and then they left. And I waited for them to come back.
There is just zooming out, there is like a scene cut to James's heart and it cracks.
Oh.
Because he's just, oh, his Luke. Oh. And he just holds Luke tighter, his voice breaking as he speaks. And that's where it started. Where you became so lonely.
I mean, I was lonely before that when my father took them and I thought they'd left, but
But you'd had hope. Luke, you had hope that you could be friends with them again.
yeah.
And then they took that hope away. Luke, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry they left you alone. I'm so sorry that you trusted them and you were going to save them. And they killed you for it.
Yeah. Luke nods, crying again.
James is crying too as he hugs Luke close, and he just, through his tears, I promise, I will never do that to you. I won't leave you alone.
Uh, Luke is just clinging to him.
James is just hugging so tight.
They're gay, Your Honor.
They're gay. The very, very sad gays right now, but they're gay.
Unbury your gays, dig them back up.
oh, he. Oh, he's just. He can't let go. He doesn't want to let go of Luke.
Valid. Luke's not letting go of him anytime soon either.
Good. He needs this. James just holds Luke and he kind of sighs sadly. You know, when I figured out that you'd died too, I really, really hoped you hadn't died screaming like I did.
I mean, why do you think my voice is so fucked up?
James just makes a small sad noise and he kind of shifts a little, but only to kind of just kiss him on the forehead.
Uh,
To be fair, I wasn't operating on all memory cylinders at the time.
yeah, wouldn't expect it to be your first guess even if you were.
I think I would have at least known that whatever happened that killed your voice, it hurt a lot. He kind of just gently cups Luke's cheek. I wish I could make it better. But I know that you're you.
Luke is like leaning his head into James's hand and looks at him and I mean, you are making it better. This is already like the best things have been in 15 years.
He just makes the softest, saddest sound as he just gently kind of just traces the curve of Luke's cheek with his thumb. And he just goes, "Then I'm gonna make sure that it's even better for you. You don't, you're not alone anymore, Luke. And there are so many things you can still do."
It doesn't really feel like it, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, don't worry. Whatever happens, gonna be right by your side. And even if bad things happen, I'm still going to be there. And we'll get through it together.
Thank you, Jaybird.
He blushes. And there's just that spark of delight at the nickname.
Oh, Luke has like a small smile even though he's still teary. Uh, and he'll duck in to kiss James on the cheek.
The blush grows stronger. And like it just, the delight also grows stronger as he just kind of smiles dumbly at Luke. Um, I think if like there's a pause in the conversation, James will kind of tilt his head a little bit and kind of intertwine his hands with one of Luke's still wrapped up hand, and he just goes, "So I know we said that we basically don't want to be apart from each other, but do do you want to try being my boyfriend?"
Yeah, Luke gives a shy little nod. He's blushing.
James is also blushing, and he is going to lean over and pull him into a kiss.
Yes.
It's official, you guys! Oh my gosh.
They're finally dating.
They are! Holy crap! What the peck?
MJ is saying speedrun like we haven't had like a dozen games of James pining and Luke dancing around the issue.
I thought we were gonna have a bunch more games.
Yeah. I was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
there's a chance it might happen. Even I didn't think we'd get a kiss.
Yeah, because Luke was like pointing at that roll and going, bullshit. I call bullshit. I want to kiss him. Peck
Mm-hmm.
you. Peck your rules.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, is there anything else we want to do as part of the FPS?
Uh, hmm, hmm, hmm. Um, my brain is, um, thinking, uh, because da 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 da. Um, I look at some of my game notes. Hey Zen, would it be okay if I did a little epilogue?
Sure.
Okay. All right. We pan out from James and Luke cuddling on the couch, maybe trading a few kisses here and there, just basking in being together and caring for each other and loving each other just so goddamn much. There is so much love, you guys. Holy shit. Um, we zoom out from the apartment out the window as and we zoom down through the street of Future World City until we get to a bus stop. There is a very specific person who gets off the bus. I am grabbing a picture.
Oh.
Um, and they are a tune with long elven ears and their hair hidden by their hair hiding one eye, with neon green streaks in their hair and a neon green forked, not forked,
Devil tail?
yeah, a devil tail, uh, um, a a neon green devil's tail swishes behind them as they step out of the bus, and they've got a black bag kind of slung over their shoulder. They're wearing a crop like they're wearing all black. They look like they stepped out of Hot Topic if Hot Topic existed in Einquell and was for tunes. They have a black bag, kind of it's a duffel bag, kind of just casually slung over one shoulder and resting on their back. And they quickly going to pull out a d20, not d20, a d10, because they're digging around with their other hand into their hammer space. Okay, it's a 7. We're good. They pull out a phone and they look to the messages, and the camera kind of zooms in on this screen of a high tech phone, uh, as it says, uh, from uh, my brain buffering, uh, RAS, uh, initials. No profile picture or anything like that. It's just the letters when you don't have a
Mhm.
contact info picture, it's just the name. Uh, and it RAS asks, "Do you have the target?" And this tune rolls their visible eye as they type out a response. "Yeah, boss. Made it safe and sound. See you on the flip side." And that's where we're going to end it for the night.
Oh boy.
Thank you, everybody, for coming to Exhume 2 Still Digging. We had so much gay, and then we had so much angst. Holy shit.
This
Okay.
FPS has everything. Gay, angst, lore hints at a future game.
I do jazz hands. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening, both now and in the future. I hope you guys all have a wonderful time zone. Bye bye.
Bye.